coming to you live from the City of Angels, Los Angeles, California. It's the Sheena Metal Experience with your host, Sheena Metal.
Hi, and welcome to the Sheena Metal Experience, only on Parapod TV. I'm Sheena Metal. I'm a psychic medium and an energetic healer and a 29-year talk radio host in Los Angeles and beyond. I'm an interfaith minister and a creative and a performing artist and a paranormal survivor. And I come to you live from my home in Southern California every Wednesday at 3 o'clock Pacific time. This show is about spirituality, it's about creativity, it's about humanity, it's about passion, it's about service, it's about becoming and then maintaining being your best you in this big, beautiful world, and then inspiring others to do the same. And it may be my show, but it is always, without a doubt, your experience. My guest today is a dear friend and a regular on all of my shows. He is an extremely talented, creative entity, a comic, speaker, teacher, spiritual being, and it's an honor to have him here. Please welcome back the wonderful Craig Shoemaker. How are you, friend?
I'm impressed with the opening. Geez, you got motion graphics and this
right
ethereal music, and
I'm messing around, man.
You didn't mess around at all. I feel like I'm on a show on ABC or something.
That's what we're doing. Only from my bed. I just sit on my bed. I'm running the entire world from my bed.
I know it's got this high-tech introduction, and now boom, there you are on your bed.
I know. And normally my studio looks so good, and I'm so proud of it. But we're calling this Studio 2 the Annex. I took a bad fall, and I'm lucky to be here. So
I got a kick out of. I'm just going to let people in on the background here, or the under the scenes. We started off, and she goes, "Alexa, turn on spiral light. Alexa, turn on overhead light."
Absolutely, I run the world from this bed. Yeah, because
it's amazing. Now I don't get along with a lot of women, so I have a hard time even with digital women. I say, "Alexa," she goes, "What now, Craig?"
Oh no, Alexa!
That was a joke, Sheena. Just be ready.
If I could marry Alexa, I would absolutely marry Alexa. Like if I after Alexa, 2 years of Alexa, I now want to have a living robot in my house, like a total AI living being. People fear AI. I'm like, bring it on. I would absolutely live with a robot.
I'm with you, but they don't want to live with me.
It's human people that are so difficult. I saw this meme the other day of this alien holding up a sign that said, "I don't believe in humans." And I wondered how many people saw that sign and went, "God, me too." Other humans. I'm with you. I'm with you, little alien.
Oh my God, I'm back in the dating world. It's even worse. Jeez.
Yeah. How you doing with that? I never know when I know people are getting divorced, and I've known you for a long time. I think as long as we've known each other, you were married. I don't ever know whether to say I'm sorry or whether to say yippee. You never know how people feel about it.
No, well, with me, it's always yippee because everything is always an opportunity for growth. Good. So there's always a yippee for me. Of course, there's the sadness and the grief and all the stages of grief, and because it happened so suddenly, and she's in this cult now, and it's very hard to adjust to what comes at me and the children. It's very hard for all of us to adjust. But I look at everything as like I really upped my spiritual program. I have a guide now. Michael Beckwith,
yes,
Agape, his brother. I see his brother all the time, and he just takes me into a whole other vibration. I kind of like almost enjoy difficulties in life. It's how I got where I am. I mean, I started off rough go. My dad left when I was born. It's something I said. Wow.
Yeah, that's it. That's what you guys are speaking up.
And
now you know when they slap your ass, you stay silent.
Yeah. Well, now I know that everything is an opportunity for my growth, and this is another one. This is another time where I just well, sometimes I feel like going, "Come on, God, really? Yeah, again."
Right.
Now you throw a cult at me. Geez.
Yeah.
The cult leader's boyfriend threatened me. He's on text messages, but this guy says, Achilles says, my guide, he says, "They're not coming after you. They can't because of your vibration. Nobody can harm you."
Yes.
So
And and how very spiritual to threaten people. I was just having a conversation with a client of mine about this the other night, because a lot of times, and I hate this story, and you probably too, as a spiritual practitioner, Craig, but sometimes people think they're working with people that are actually raising their vibration.
Mm-hmm.
And then they realize they're dealing with very dangerous sociopaths who are trying to suck them into whatever for whatever outcome. And
you know what? Someone pointed out to me a word that I use now, wellness grifting. There's wellness grifters out there.
Yeah. Oh, I've never heard. That's brilliant.
And I'm spreading it around. I was on Nick Newmont's podcast yesterday, and he had never heard of that either. And we're surrounded by them. They're just charlatans. And they use the vulnerability of people. They have a vulnerable sense of self. And, they're at that stage in their life where they're looking for something.
Yes.
And they supply it to vulnerable people. And everyone is vulnerable at some point in your life. And these people prey upon that. That's what happened with my now ex-wife is, she hit a point in her life. Is it all about me being a mom and middle age and menopause and all that? And this woman swoops in with all these multi-level marketing. They changed like 7 different businesses already. And they were in another cult before. And just this pontificating. And it's all theoretical.
Yes.
This is what I teach. I'm not going to tell anyone what to do unless I've done it myself. And I'm still not going to tell them what to do. I'm going to share that with them and they can get what they want out of it.
Yeah.
So if I have a program, I'm going to tell you the program that I worked that got me to where I am. Yes. You're interested in that, you want what I have, then I will share more and more of this with you. But there's all the theoretical people. Here's what you got to do. They're just reading from a book, from another book. So what? Just regurgitating.
No, you're right. This is what I teach. I teach 3 things: community, connection, and love. Get a stronger connection to your higher power, grow the love within you, and then spread that love to everyone that you encounter. It really is that simple. And then as you heal others, you heal yourself. So the more happiness you spread throughout the world, the more you heal yourself. It's very simple. And I believe it. Look, I believe in a lot of things, right? It's not, and I have a lot of my roots are in the New Age community, but I think sometimes we're drawing people into all this, aliens and other dimensions and all of these things exist, but they don't have a lot to do with your life path, right? You got to get on your path and walk it. I think a lot of this kind of what my mom used to call metaphysics is it sort of just takes you away from your life path and your spiritual path.
Exactly. It's a deflection. It's a deflection, and it takes you away from what's important, away from, listen, if I give tools, it's going to be tools that work for me. I got to use the tools. And that's the problem I actually have with even journeys, medicine journeys. Okay, great. You went on a medicine journey. You came back and you cleared some things out. How are you going to sustain that? You're going to keep on going on medicine journey after medicine journey? What are you going to do to scale up your life, to have something that's scalable, doable, executable every day of your life? A practice. I like to say repetition causes intuition.
I like
First,
that.
we don't have these intuitions to carry out our lives with, spiritual essence and things like that. But if you repeat, suddenly it just becomes natural to you. And we return to who we truly are anyway. People talk about being authentic. Well, really, authentically, we are all born love, light, and levity, right? We're born that way. Then we get conditioned to get in people's lines. You'll get an A, you get a grade, you get a reward, you get a pat on the back, you get an award, whatever it is. Here you go. Do it like we want it and regurgitate our information, which is meaningless for life. What did all of that mean when you look back at school? All the things we learned, 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue. What in the world does that mean to us now?
Yeah.
But yet they put so much meaning to it and you get rewarded for it, as opposed to, why not teach us how to grow and transform and become back to who we truly are?
Yeah.
Where's those teachings?
Yeah.
And that's where leaders come in, who are spiritual leaders, who have lived it, though. They've lived it to be able to share their recovery process, to be able to share what they have gained, this gained wisdom. But if they're not, then you got to run, because a lot of times they're grifters and they're just preying upon this idea that people are in this, mental illness is obviously very high right now. It's on people's minds. But what are we doing about the mental illness?
Yes. Yes.
What's being done?
Right. Right. Well, and I think
Any
some of that,
programs for this?
right. And as a spiritual person, and I'll always have been my whole life, way before I was a spiritual practitioner, I believe that a lot of that mental illness comes from a disconnection from higher power and a disconnection from self.
100%.
You're drifting, right? You're not anchored to anything. We are supposed to be anchored to things. Spirit is within us. We are supposed to be anchored to the universe. We're supposed to be grounded to the earth. We're supposed to be soul tied to others. But when we don't have that pure connection to spirit and pure connection to self, it's like we're untethered and we're just floating around, not holding on to anything. And that's when all the other crazy stuff, right? The gunk can get in, the dust can get in and distract you from what's really going on in your life, which is, are you connected to God? Are you connected to you? And what are you doing to make the world a better place?
That's exactly what happened. Even in our marriage, we stopped going to spiritual practices. We stopped praying together. We stopped meditating together. And as soon as that stopped, she then empowered a person.
Right.
Went away from the higher power and went to a person who was there saying, come on, mamas, get your sovereign freedom. Get out of your golden cage. She called it. She was in a golden. I'd like to be in one for like a minute. Would you like to be in a golden cage for a minute? Like somebody else is minding your cage for you? For like a minute, I'd like to.
Come with a gold toilet? I'd love.
I love gold toilet. I would. That would be a little washlet. I'm telling you, that's what's going on. You hit the nail on the head. There isn't enough, and that's because of the other thing is religion has also kind of taken people down some paths, empowering whoever the minister, the rabbi, whoever it is. They're empowering those leaders to have all their answers instead of saying, "Oh, the answers are all inside of me."
Yes.
In this great source that's inside of all of us.
Yes. Yes. Well, and a good spiritual practitioner. And I feel like, and you probably do, Craig, too, that as light-filled spiritual practitioners, part of our job is to save people from the ones who are not light-filled. I feel like I'm consistently building up my clients in a way that others have torn them down. Others that were supposed to be saving them had really just broken them down and convinced them that they were nothing, because you have to make somebody think they're nothing in order to be the one that saves them.
Correct.
And so it's a shame that we're out there having to repair our own community and save people from people who claim to be in our own community. But I think that's a little bit of what we go through, is that you have to sort of rescue souls from and oftentimes, you said about religion, oftentimes people who have felt very oppressed and repressed growing up in their whatever indoctrined religion they grew up in, they come out of that and they go into an alternative spirituality like the New Age community or something like that, seeking freedom and seeking empowerment and seeking enlightenment where they felt like they were deprived of it before.
Right.
And then sometimes they get sucked into another cult. A different kind of cult, just one filled with crystals.
Exactly. And if someone gives me a crystal, I want to hear how it worked for you. I want to hear this crystal did this for me. And that much more than, as I said before, the theoretical, oh, this is what this is going to do. Well, did it do it for you? Did it really do, when I share experiences, I've had some unbelievable breakthroughs. And they happen from surrender is the big one, by the way.
Yes. And release. Yes.
When I surrender, it's the greatest victory. When people say surrender, oh, you mean you quit? No. I'm surrendering my ego, surrendering trying to be right, surrendering my patterns.
Yes.
Surrendering these things to the highest source and know that everything's going to be okay. Like I'll give you an example. I was, really at it with my now ex, and I was taking the kids. I have two younger kids with her, and we're going to Maui, and we're on my way to Maui. God spoke to me and said, write a letter.
Wow.
Write a letter to her. 22 pages came out of me. Complete mea culpa, amends, apology, complete accountability, responsibility. And she had done some really, bad stuff, stole $1 million, changed the bank account, like some really violence and all that. But I let all of that go and only looked at my role in this. And that's what God wrote through my pen. I said, Joe, go ahead, God, just take the pen.
Yep.
And outpour this this absolutely, it was amazing to me what came out. So we landed. I texted her. She happened to be in Maui at the same time visiting her sister, but I was supposed to be with the children by myself the entire trip at this beautiful resort. And I said, there'll be a letter waiting for you at the front desk. If you're into it, we'll be at the pool. If you're not, so be it.
Right.
She texts me, we're at the pool. She's, I'm one page in, I'm already crying my eyes out. And then we got together later it took her an hour to read the letter. And then we embraced, we cried, and we had this unbelievable healing. The kids said it was the greatest day of their lives. We hung out the entire time in Maui together. So I'm not saying to people when I'm teaching or whatever, I'll say, that's what I did. I'm not going to say, you need to write a letter.
Right. Right.
That's what happened to me. And it was amazing, the miracle that took place. Two egos going at it, two people trying to be right. And here I was, I'm wrong. And here's how I'm wrong. And by the way, it set a new tone for her. She's not now she's not feeling attacked. So I'm not trying to change her. I'm just taking care of my side of the street. And spirituality, that's what it's about. It's about the individual, then the collective.
Yes. Yes.
That's what's happened so many times in my life. That's the surrender. That was a total surrender of ego. You think I wanted to write that letter? I didn't want to write it. So I wanted her to be more punished for what she's done.
Right.
But that was a way to clean it out and really do look at how I bring these things in.
Yes.
Bring them in.
Yes.
And we all do. Now, the thing is, I want to ask you about my experience in the mental health space. If someone has what you find to be mental health issues, I find you don't get support because the minute you say someone has that, people attack you for attacking them as they see it as an attack.
Yes.
That's the rub. If you say to someone, you have got to check out, you got to go see somebody, a psychologist or something, because the manifestations of whatever you have, it's not up to me to identify what it is, but it's really hard to be on the other side of this.
Yes.
And me saying that has gotten me into so much trouble. And now I have no allies to go find the solution for the person that's got the mental illness.
Yes.
And it's bad. And you don't know how far it can go. I was watching a movie on a cult, and this woman, Lori Vallow, she killed two of her children and her ex-husband. And I'm watching this thing. It's my friend's sister. And I talked to him about, I've been on his podcast a few times, and we're saying people need to listen and not go into denial. Don't attack the person who's exposing. That's what happens if you expose people, then they attack you. It goes on in politics all the time. This is why leaders get to stay there, because if so many people protecting them, they're protecting their interest by saying, don't attack them. You're wrong for attacking them. Now you can't get to the root of any corruption.
Well, but that's how, don't you think that's Craig, that's how darkness works. And that's how narcissists work. I believe someday, as we realize that spirituality and science are the two sides of the same coin, we'll realize that sociopaths and evil are kind of the same thing. So when you have somebody who is a true narcissistic sociopath, and unfortunately, they're much more common than I would like to think they are.
No, right?
Everybody who lives in their periphery is sort of half glamored by them, like a vampire movie, and half terrified of them.
That's right.
So they don't want anything to change the status quo because they don't want to either upset their leader or have their leader expel them out of the circle of narcissistic minion. So if you're the one who announces that the emperor has no clothes on, and say, hey, something's wrong, this person is a narcissist, this person has a mental illness, they will all turn on you. It's like a hive mentality.
Oh, yeah. The part of the system is messenger killing. It's the first part of the system, messenger kill. And then you said something briefly that I caught on that I've noticed is they will lure you in with compliments. I just went at it with this guy. We had a breakup of a partnership. And I decided I would rather lose money, not even going to argue. I surrendered again. Surrender the money.
Yeah.
Surrender the money. I surrendered the money. He was like coming after me, and he started attacking me. And no matter what I said to him in text messages, he would come back with an attack, a deflection. And then when he was caught, he would go, I just told someone the other day, you're a genius. and they should come. So he starts to compliment me.
Right.
And I'm going, hey, man, not falling for it. Stay with the initial question I'm asking you, which he's avoiding the question because he knows the truth. They're most afraid of you telling them the truth. That's the biggest fear the narcissist has, is a truth teller.
Yes.
I don't know if you found this in your life. I run into it all the time because I'm a major truth teller. I'm a comedian. Why do you think people slam comedians before anybody? There's way more corrupt people in the world than comedians because we're exposing the corruption.
Yes.
There's way more people doing damage, like literally poisoning our land and poisoning our food supply. That they're getting away with, but you say one word and they'll cancel you. An independent worker, comedian who's out there to help you and uplift you and expose some of these things in a way that's very unique. And yet, this is what I don't like about the woke, by the way. The woke, really guilty of this. They just pounce on anything, and they pounce on the vulnerable, the comedians who don't have as much money. By the way, did you see the Tom Brady roast?
No.
If a woke person was watching this and they had like a buzzer attached to them, it would have gone. It was every single ism and phobe and ist was displayed by these comics, and it was the most inappropriate, if you look at it that way, thing you could ever hear in your life. They attacked everyone, and you know what? Not one thing's going to happen. You know why? Because they have lots of money. They're unapproachable. You can't defeat them. That's why Ricky Gervais says what he wants. Russell Brand. They all say whatever they want because now it's like, come after me. I got all the money in the world. Sorry.
Right.
But an independent comedian who has to really keep the image and, keep up so they can make a living, bam, they could cancel a career in 5 seconds based on misinterpreting something you said. They don't even look for the intention. It's just to make you laugh.
And it's another hive mentality, and hive mentalities terrify me.
Let's go
now, I'm not saying that some of the ideas behind original wokeness are good. They're things we shouldn't be saying and shouldn't be doing. And it's like the Me Too movement, right? They're things where we shouldn't be treating people. You shouldn't be tapping somebody's ass in a water cooler in the office. But then people take it to such an extreme.
Now it's a bad date. Now I'm going to report you on a bad date.
Now the hive comes out, and now
That's
it's
exactly
everything.
right.
Yeah,
me too. And the Me Too is literally, I'm going to join you. Look at Me Too. I've had a bad experience too. And then anyone on the other side, and then you're guilty. There's no trial. Right. That's the problem with social media too. There is no trial whatsoever.
Right.
And if it's decided that somebody wants to get revenge, I went on a date the other day. I'm going to pass this by you. I go on a date. And by the way, good conversations leading up to it. I was actually really looking forward to the date. Never met her before. I pick her up at her place, go to the Ivy, which is a very
lovely,
high-end restaurant, right?
Classy date.
She orders 3 crab cakes, a vegetable dish, lobster, pasta, and 2 desserts. Then says, can I have the lobster and the berries wrapped? I have breakfast and lunch for tomorrow. Thoughts?
Wow. Well, the first thing that Spirit is psychically giving me, Craig, is run as far and as fast as you can.
I don't think you need to be a psychic for that.
No, not at all. Just start running and never stop running. Wow. So in other words, she thought you were a sucker coming.
Well, whatever the case is, right? So I wasn't quite sure how to respond because it was when she didn't touch the berries and said, "Oh, that's breakfast tomorrow," and the lobster's lunch. I might have been okay with just the lobster, some leftovers, but 2 desserts and then not eating any of the other one.
Yeah, right. It was set up for takeout plus.
Oh my God. And it's the Ivy. It's $400, I mean, not a little meal. So anyway, I didn't speak to her. I didn't bother. So I just retreated and I went, what do I do about this? So then I went out for, people in the Facebook community. They love, let me give you my opinion. A lot of it was
comment after comment.
But a few, because I am an open guy. I'm an open soul to look at my part, like I told you with my ex-wife. And so a couple people said, you probably shouldn't have ghosted her like that. And I said, and I defended, I go, it's not ghosting unless they contact me because she didn't contact me.
Right.
I defended it for a second. Then I went, okay, let's do this. So I'm going to apologize for not getting in touch with her. And I floated in. I was just kind of put off by the. Now, Sheena, What was her response?
Yeah, something entitled.
Keep going.
Something angry. how,
Keep correct.
how dare you bring that up to her like that?
How petty you are. I'll pay you the money.
Right.
You
Right.
cheap bastard.
You wanted to take me on a date. This is what a date is.
Well, just like if I would have known, it would have upset you so much. And I was even saying, I'm not that upset. It's not about the money. I'll send you the money. I said, no. I wouldn't give her my Venmo. So now we're getting this back and forth, but it's really angry.
Yeah.
So typical me, I'm trying to fix it, but my healthy me goes, just walk away.
Yes.
That's the big lesson for me is I will fight it. No, please don't be angry.
I used to be that same person, and I'm learning to not be that person.
Yeah. And it's still, I'm still carrying it with me, the effects of her like attacks. And I'm like, but then, and part of me's going, okay, I understand. The other part of me's going, Craig, unacceptable. You really were sincere. You tried to, I was apologizing, looking at my role in this. And I guess she was ashamed also. I'm sure she was ashamed. And she unfriended me on Facebook. Good thing she didn't see the Facebook post.
I don't think she was all that ashamed. I think she was entitled and irked that you dared say that to her because she thought for going on a date with you, it was what she was owed. I mean, I think there are people who live in that space of every time they exhale in your direction, they're doing you a favor. And to me, it's a sign of ego problems and ego imbalance. And it's just somebody you don't want anything to do with. But
it's just not conscious. It's not aware. I mean, you don't order 2 desserts at Ivy and then not touch one of them. It's just bad form.
You don't even order one unless somebody wants to share it with you. And the same thing with the appetizer.
By the way,
when you're on the first date, you go with the flow, and that's about everything in moderation. And
but 3 crab cakes and then a big meal, lobster. Like, let me go for the lobster. Like that represents everything. But anyway, the point I'm making is stepping away from these people who are such a lure. And you were talking about earlier, these narcissists. It's so easy to step into the trap.
Yes.
Because if you're a rescuer like me,
and like me,
I have a thing I say, if you go on a first date, you should bring your best friends with you to stop you from your harmful patterns, right? You sit here in the restaurant, they're over here in the restaurant, and you're sitting there with your date, and they have a remote, and you have a shock collar. So when they start in with rescue stuff, like my ex-boyfriend, he cheated on me, he left me nothing to a futon and a salad bowl. I'm sitting there eating up, going, really? Well, I have a nice big.
Yes,
you can move into my house.
Free. I need one too. Yes.
Get a zapper to stop me from rescuing.
Yeah.
I swear to God, instead of bringing a dozen red roses, I'm going to bring a dozen red flags.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and they do. They come to you with the story of the ex. Everybody's treated me badly. My friends have done this. Nobody understands me. And you have to ask yourself, now there are exceptions, right, Craig? There are always exceptions. But my mom used to always say, when there's somebody who never brings a friend anywhere, something is wrong. And now, look, somebody just could be totally decimated. There could be a story where your ex turned everybody against you, your friends turned everybody against you. We've all been there. But somebody whose story is consistently, all of my friends left me, you have to wonder why. Why did all your friends leave you? Because no matter how awful your ex was, no matter how awful your other friend was, or whoever turned these people against you, somebody would stick with you. Like my tribe, I call my coven, my 5 best girlfriends. I don't care what somebody says about me. They could find me with a bloody knife and the person's dead in the bed, and they still would be my friend because they would know it wasn't me. So if everybody has left you, you might want to look at you. There's something going on. My
friend's wife, and we're trying to repair this thing so that I can hang with them back east, and she is just the meanest person. Yeah. I left 2 dishes in a sink when I stayed at there. I swear to God, she's made this big deal of it. Years later, I've been friends with this guy since childhood, and his sister, and his whole family. And this woman And I realized, I go, Pete, does she have any old friends? She doesn't have one single old friend.
No, there's nothing.
And
Yeah.
she just cut out his sister. I mean, this is just somebody just so, I don't get it. You know, and that's my rescue part of me is I don't get it. Why someone would make these choices, why you live your life in misery and you want that misery to have company. I mean, I just don't get it. And literally I teach winning with laughter. I mean, where's the laughter in all this? Where's the fun?
Right. There's none.
Where are people having fun? And so I'm training other people, other fun facilitators. I don't know if you want to show up and be a fun
I like that. I would love to be a fun facilitator.
Yes, we got this thing rocking. We're going to do a program at the Newmont Center. So you should stop by.
I love that.
We're doing I do guided laughitation, where when you laughitate, it takes you to a whole other level of vibration and consciousness.
Absolutely.
It's awesome. It's amazing. Do you know you can't be depressed while you're laughing? You can't be angry while you're laughing. Watch this. Yeah. I'm depressed. I am so depressed and down. At that moment, I'm not.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Can't exist in the same space. It's amazing. I've done so much study on this, and I still have a thriving comedy career. And I realized one day it's just not about that anymore. It's just not about me succeeding and getting even with people that were mean to me. It's not even about fame. It's not about that. This is about what can I give to people that I have learned in all these years. And that is this: laughter really does heal.
Yes.
Laughter. My friend Tony, his son committed suicide, or he died of a drug overdose. Tony was so distraught. And I called him a year later. I thought he was going to kill himself. And I said, look, I'm going to teach you how to do comedy. He goes, I can't do that. I go, yes, you can. I taught him so well, he ended up opening for me in casinos and theaters. That's how good he became as a comedian.
That's awesome.
And it completely changed his life. Now he's this big songwriter and he's killing it. And that was the thing that, not that he's going to remain a comedian. He doesn't even do it much anymore, but it released him to his true self. It released him to be happy, because we're all supposed to be happy, joyous, and free, right? That's what we're supposed to be. You don't have to stay in misery. We're also conditioned that way too. You must grieve this way. You cannot talk. You cannot have a happy thought. You can't go have, if it's your spouse that dies, you can't have sex for another 20 years. No, that's not what the spouse would want for you.
No, not at all. Yes. So many times when I tap into loved ones that have passed, significant others, they're trying to push their living spouse to date and to get out there and find someone to love them. It's the living person that's hanging on to this idea that we have to be miserable forever. Exactly.
Sometimes if they commit suicide, they want you to be released.
Yes.
Because they're a burden. They find themselves to be a burden.
Yes.
It's amazing to me how backwards we are in the way we live our lives. Because we don't live our lives. We live our lives for other people. We live our lives for other conditioning. One of my books is called Get Out of Line and Into Alignment. Get out of line.
Yeah.
Get out of the mob. The hive, as you call it. Get out.
Yeah. Get out of the hive. Yeah.
Get out of the hive and be in your own alignment and listen to that true essence, that potency that exists inside of us that we're tamping down. We're stamping and stomping it down. It wishes to be released. Yes. That's why my damn job title is you're another multi-hyphenate. It's because we go, that's just answering the call. That's the answer to the call, which is as wide as it gets. It's infinite.
Spirit says, now you do this. And I say, okay.
Exactly. Just say, okay.
But it's interesting what you're talking about with having things. I talk about this during my spiritual services a lot. There's four main relationships that we have: a relationship with ourself, our relationship with higher power, the relationship with the world, and our relationship with others. And they should go in that order, right? You come first, spirit comes second, earth comes third, then other people. But we flip it most of the time and we do it backwards. So we make what other people think of us first. Whoa. And then what does the world think of us? And then, oh my God, am I disappointing God? And then relationship with you last. And that's how I think we get led astray and wind up in this sort of isolated place where we're connected to nothing, is we're putting all of our focus into what other human beings think of us and not into how much we love ourselves.
And selfishly, the one way I don't love myself is to give myself away for free to people that are not asking for it. They don't deserve it. That's the rescue that comes in I found that all of my rescuing, just about all of it, the opposite effect happens. Then I have to step it back and analyze myself and do a little self expedition and go, oh, one of the reasons you're doing it is you're trying to buy love. You're trying to have them, you're trying to do something for them, and then they'll come back and go, you saved my life.
Right. Right.
That's my ego. I need a step from that too.
Right.
You know, really, it's a fine line sometimes. You know, you want to help people. You got to help the ones who want to help themselves. But I'm still guilty of it, though. I'll find people
No, I agree.
jobs.
I agree
Find
100%.
people jobs all the time. And there's a part of me that goes, why didn't they thank me? And then I just go, oh, well, because first of all, they don't want you to have a God complex. You know, there's a lot of reasons they don't thank or appreciate. And it's a little disappointing. And then I have to analyze myself and go, well, when you probably did that too to other people. So
you should always thank and appreciate, though, if you can. I think
know.
we've lost the art of that. And
Oh.
I think that I also think with rescuers sometimes that we so want someone to return the love and affection that we give to them. We want people to be equal with us, right? To give back. And I think how we get sucked into rescuing is that we find people who act like that's what they want. Like, all I've ever wanted was someone to love me, or all I've ever wanted was a really good best friend I could have forever. All I've wanted was a chosen tribe of people. And oh, me too. And then we fall right into it. And the truth is that isn't really what they want. They're just mirroring what they think we want at us.
Yeah, it's a rough one. And I do fall in that trap often.
I do too.
And it's a tricky, slippery slope. I've had people that I get jobs. I got some jobs for probably hundreds of jobs I've gotten for people, literally. And it's happened a couple of times. She announced it on Facebook. I mean, shouldn't I have been the first one? She called when she got the job that I got.
Yeah.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
And she calls me. She goes, I heard you're upset with me because I didn't thank you. It was like, well, where's the thank you even now? She like shames me for telling someone that I was disappointed. Another one, I got her in this art gallery. It's announced on Facebook.
Yeah.
I got her. I went, and then I'm going, what the hell? Here's the thing: I have to look at my own agenda.
Mm.
What was my agenda in doing this for people? It's either fun and for free or not. That's the objective. Has to be fun and for free. No expectations. Expect not even a thank you. Like you said, throw the should out. Throw that should out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Throw that shit out.
Throw that shit out of here. And that's the truth. I mean, this is what some of my discovery is. I've got to really, really be careful about who I volunteer help for, because I think they look at it like, who does he think he is? God, that he saved me and rescued me.
Yeah.
Now, this has been going on a long time. I'll tell you what happened when I was a kid. My dad leaving had a big impact. He left when I was born.
Of course.
And then, but it had an impact on her, my mom. So I thought his name was doesn't pay the child support. I thought it was his name. She said, oh, your father doesn't pay the child support. Your father doesn't pay the child support, right? So I would try to fix her up with guys all the time. Like, I thought that would be her happiness. So I used to look at baseball cards. I could care less RBI or home runs. I cared one thing, marital status. So I go through the Phillies because that was local. And I found this one. I can still tell you that Larry Bow was married to a woman named Sheena. That's how much this is in my head. I still remember who was married. And I literally took the Larry Boa card, discarded it. I have no interest. If he's not going to be my stepfather, boom, he's out. I found this card, Tim McCarver. I said, Mom, look at this guy. He's handsome. He already won a World Series with the Cardinals. Now he's with the Phillies. He's a catcher. He could teach me how to pitch. He could adopt me. I'm a pitcher. He's a catcher. He could teach me. He can marry you, Mom. She says, he doesn't want me. I said, yes, he does. And I wrote him a letter. Dear Tim McCarver, you should meet my mother. You know, I put her photo in there, whatever. He never wrote me back. But things take time. So I told Joe Buck that story. Broadcaster with this guy, Tim McCarver, for many, many decades together as broadcast partners. I told him this story. And next time I see Joe Buck, he hands me a ball signed by Tim McCarver. And it says, Dear son, time to grow up.
Oh.
Love dad. AKA Tim McCarver.
That's fantastic.
So life, you never know how life's going to turn out.
Yeah.
Can I curse on here? Can I curse on here?
Yeah, sure.
I want to write a book called God's a Slow Motherfucker.
Oh, I like that. Right. I always say to my clients, the universe does not give a fuck about your timeline.
No.
I wanted to get married by January and I wanted this.
Oh.
And I'm like, you know what? It's okay to wish for things, but the
I'm
universe does not give a fuck about your timeline.
At all. As a matter of fact, opposite. Let me teach you a lesson in timing. Let me teach you a lesson how you're going to extend this pain and suffering, and you're going to learn not to suffer because it's a choice. It's a choice. You know, the Grand Canyon is one of the most beautiful things that God ever made, and it took a long time.
Yeah.
Just go, poof. There you go.
Yeah.
There's a canyon. No, you could see all the levels, how many centuries and centuries and centuries. And we look at this beautiful work of, it's not even a person, it's of God, you know, and that's the example of things take a while.
Yes.
Now with my ex-wife, I need to hear that all the time. I need to repeat that to myself all the time. Yes. She might be in a season. It might be for the rest of her life. I don't know that she's with this cult leader. I don't know what the answer is. It's very upsetting though. I want to take care of it because I'm a doer. Like I'm fixing my mom up. I used to try to fix her up with Paul Lynde, the Center Square. She loved him. I wrote
How'd
him
that go
letters.
for you, Craig?
I wrote him letters. My mom's crushes. Now, you're probably old enough to remember these people.
Mm-hmm.
These were her crushes. Rock Hudson.
Oh.
Richard Chamberlain, Tab Hunter, and Paul Lynde.
Okay. All right.
What do they have in common?
Mom was a bit of a fruit fly and didn't know it.
She didn't know it.
Wow. Okay.
She didn't know Liberace was gay. She just thinks she used to use the word flamboyant.
Right.
He's flamboyant. But
see, my mom did know Liberace was gay, but she used to laugh that none of the girls we went to college with knew that he was gay. And she would laugh that they would all have these crushes and they would sweat and cry for him. My mom she liked Elvis. She was and Elvis was not gay. She loved the fact that all these women thought they were going to marry Liberace and none of them figured out he was gay.
I know. The same with my mom. Those are all her crushes. And listen, that's how Hollywood does it. Hollywood's great at that. You know, Hollywood's great at creating something that's an illusion.
Right.
Now, that's why what's that?
It's the reason that I think that all those girls went crazy for all those guys in the 80s that had the hair and the makeup. I think that that women are looking for a softness in a man. And I think that men are looking for a toughness in women. Like we're all looking for that mix of divine masculine, divine feminine, right? So I think sometimes women develop crushes on gay men because they're looking for that sweetness and they don't interpret it as gay. Well, now they probably do because kids now are so smart. But, you know, our parents' generation certainly didn't talk about that. They just knew there was like a softness in there that they liked.
Well, now they're throwing in they. It could be a they.
Right.
That's very confusing. You know, I was thinking the other day, why did you have to choose that word?
It's very strange.
Which already has centuries of a meaning. Is they? It means more than one. Like my friend the other day, she says, "Well, they go to this school," and I go, "Oh, you have twins?
Yes.
So why confuse? Why come up with? How about schmadoodle? I identify as a schmadoodle, something where it's like completely different, and it's not a word that's already used. So now we're all confused. Yes. Why? And who came up with it? Who's the leader of the pack?
No, I don't know.
Webster's dictionary.
Yeah, the they too movement. I don't know, but I remember back in the teaching in the queer community. I remember back when it was Zim and Zer. That was how you non-binary identified.
Wow.
And I thought that was strange, but then suddenly they came, and then I kind of started to appreciate Zim and Zer because I'm like, well, at least those were words we didn't have before, so it made sense. But now, I respect anybody's right to identify any way they want, but I can't figure out how many people we're talking about.
I don't know that I do. I don't know that I do. I think it's a theory. I don't think it's a theory that has any backup. It's not ever happened since the beginning of time. I think it's going to bottom out on certain things. It's funny because Zim and Zer doesn't even exist anymore because I haven't heard that.
It's gone.
I do know one that did stick when I was a kid was Ms. They had Ms. Magazine and things like that. Remember that was like the first when you think about it.
Right.
It's just gone so far now. Like the worst we had was I'm a little teapot, but I didn't actually think I was a little teapot, short and stout. But I'm a little teapot, short and stout. It's very, very confusing, and people need to have patience. That's why I'm upset with the woke community as well. There's no patience. Like I have a friend, Kathy, who's now Kathleen. Now, I'm not an ist or a phobe because I still call her Kathy. It's an adjustment. Actually, Caitlyn Jenner was Bruce Jenner to me for 30 years. It's
Right.
hard. I ran into her. I got it right and said,
Right.
bro, 4 times. I go, when are we golfing, bro? Because that's how I know. Okay, don't say I'm an ist or a phobe or even ignorant. It's just getting adjusted. We all need to adjust to these things. But what I'm saying is, if you're going to make these changes, make it something that's like, like change the words.
Yes.
And then the sapiosexual, the pansexual, the cisgender, the all transatlantic. I don't know.
Right.
When I was growing up,
the world is definitely changing, and we are keeping up with it. And I think that it's a lot of change. It's like there was no change and then a ton of change all at once. And I think you just have to be patient with yourself as you're trying to wrap your brain around the change. Is it easier for you because you have kids? Because you have kids that are growing up in this changing world.
No, I just bring them my cranky self.
Okay.
There's some things. I'm a comedian. I'm just going to approach it that way. I was telling my kids,
Right.
a Trans, when I was growing up, was a Trans Am. It was a really cool car.
Sure.
And blowing a tranny was not in an alley.
Right. Right. Exactly.
Now,
yeah.
am I going to be canceled because I made a joke?
You're canceled.
And
yes,
the joke is real. You blew a tranny. That's what you
right.
did. It was a transmission. Okay. Now, if you want to change the word and change it to something completely different, otherwise, you got to adjust to that. That's what it was called. That's what it will always be in my mind as a tranny is a transmission.
Well, I understand people wanting to identify how they do, and I 100% respect that. But I also think that I'm sure back in the day when we all hopefully good-naturedly made fun of each other, there were some that didn't, and that's a whole nother thing, and I don't like them at all. But people who were just trying to be like comedians, right? Laughing at the world. I'm sure there were some that were very devastated by those jokes. But overall, I believe that people were less sensitive to it because people weren't always being told that it was wrong. And my only worry, look, I toe the line. I do everything you're supposed to do to be politically correct, be out of respect for other people, because I'm the raising the vibration girl. But I do worry sometimes that more divisiveness and separatism and a fear of each other is growing within us as we are not allowed to poke fun at each other, that we're losing the camaraderie between us.
That's exactly right.
And
we're losing our sense of humor, which is losing your
Right.
sense of self. Like even what you just said, I would debate you and say, you're losing your sense of self because you're trying so hard to be sensitive to but it's an ongoing thing. It's a moving target. You can't ever hit the target because then they'll change it again. Then they'll change another word and another terminology, and they'll add a LGBTQ, RSTUV, WXYZ. I mean, they're adding letters all the time. So because I debate that does not make me a phobe. It makes me logical. It makes me want to learn. It wants me to challenge you in saying, oh, are you really choosing the right word? Are you choosing the right direction? What's authentic? Authentically, we all have an urge to have fun at one another. And that's self-deprecating as well, that I can't keep up. That's self-deprecating. I can't keep up with all of these. I'm going to the dating sites and I go, what in the world? I have to look in the dictionary on what the damn term is.
Yes. I got kicked off TikTok for a while because I was dealing with somebody that I was giving psychic readings during a broadcast, and I was dealing with somebody who had committed suicide. Somebody was trying to contact a loved one that had committed suicide, and I started getting screamed at that you have to say somebody unalive themselves. You're no longer allowed to word suicide. You're not allowed to say killed themselves. And I just did here. So I just faux pod there.
Oh my God. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. No, who's the judge? Who's the judge now it's they. Remember when you were growing up, it was always they say you can't.
Right.
Now they is like one person. It's all screwy. It's all nuts. And now it's always people are looking around. I don't want to live like a life of looking around to say, oh, that you can't say that anymore. Yes, you can. You could say a lot. It's all about intent. If your intent is to harm, if you have innocence that you don't even know the word,
Yes.
if you don't even know that it's a bad word, and who's it a bad word to? Like the microcosm of people.
Right.
A microcosm of people, but the squeaky wheels get the grease.
Am I
Oh,
worried that
oh
how
my God,
many
I gotta go.
people?
I gotta
What?
go. I gotta
All
go
right,
get
you
with
gotta go. I'm gonna let you go. Where can people find you online?
my thems. I gotta go deal with my thems over here.
Go deal with your thems.
My
Where can
kids.
people find you online?
CraigShoemaker.com and official Craig Shoemaker on Instagram. And go find me. And I've got this winningwithlaughter.com if you want to check that out. It's an amazing coaching program. I'm going to have you do some guided laughitations with us, okay?
I would love it. I would love it. And I'm so excited. Congratulations on your new podcast. It's wonderful.
Thank you. Awesome. Thanks for having me on. Always good to see you.
I'll see you soon.
Great. Whoever did your opening, I want to talk to them.
All right. Thank you, my friend.
See you, sweetie. Bye.
Nice to see you.
Did I say sweetie? Is that sexist? I said sweetie. Is that sexist? Can you say that anymore?
It's just like you. It's just like you. It's just like you touch my ass around the water cooler. My lawyer's calling as we speak.
Can you?
That's it. You sort of cyber raped me right there. My lawyer's calling. Hang up so my lawyer can call.
Oh, here comes the guilt. I feel guilt. I'm going to feel guilty for 3 weeks.
All right. Take care, my friend. So good to have you here. The wonderful Craig Shoemaker, everybody. If you missed those links, please go to SheenaMetalSpiritual.com or find me on social media everywhere at Sheena Metal, or get in touch with me via text. And then we're connected. 818-437-0886. We're here every Wednesday at 3:00 Pacific time. Thanks so much to Parapod TV and its wonderful owner and operator, Tony Sweet, my dear friend, for allowing us to be part of his television family. And to my engineer and producer, Emery, the wind beneath my wings. I love you, my friend. Thank you for being here and sharing this experience with me every week. Till we see you next time, seek peace, live in love, lead with kindness, embrace unity, always work to raise your vibration, and know that you are love and you are loved and you're loved by me. I'm Sheena Metal. This is the Sheena Metal Experience. I'll see you next week. Namaste. Stay beautiful and take care of you.